Hello, everybody.
Oh, God.
I think we just peaked the audio. First, hello.
I did.
Let me, let's start us off with something a little more dulcet.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ryan.
And I'm Ben.
And we are GamePunx. Welcome.
GamePunx. That's how we're going to start my week.
I mean, and what a week it has been.
What a
week it has been. A very good week for this podcast, as we'll get to.
Do you know your history of this week?
I hope you know
We're
your
excited.
history, because there's some... I mean, honestly, you don't even need to know your history to know why some of this shit is fucking stupid, because guess what? It's happening right outside your window right now. But, oh my god, yeah, what a week it has been. But let's talk about our individual weeks first.
Especially for
McDonald's?
Yeah, no, I meant Montreal, but yeah.
What is Montreal if not a grouping of McDonald's?
Yeah.
With
the John A variety.
With some things in between. Yes, speaking of McDonald's, we've had quite the week here. We've had quite the week here in Montreal.
Yes. It was a good week.
It was a very good week, actually.
I've had a beer or two, so I'm a little loosey goosey.
Well, before we get into all like the fun stuff, let's start out with our regular weekly news.
The normal fun stuff.
What have you been up to? What games have you been playing this week?
God, what did I play this week? I beat Cloudpunk. Finally.
Oh, okay, great. Let's hear about that.
Which is a game I'm going to have to go back to because they keep getting updates that just make the game better.
Oh.
They are now adding, what I saw was footage of prototype footage of the in cockpit, so like while driving first person stuff, because they had just recently added the like walking around first person stuff, which is what got me back into it originally, because the main problem I had with that game upon release was that it wasn't even third person. It was like not overhead, it was like it was side view but kind of at an angle.
Isometric.
Yeah. It was isometric, and it played a little rough.
It's a three-dimensional isometric perspective. It looks a little like if you've ever played a game like Crystal Castles, the Atari.
Yeah, it's a bloxel art.
Yeah,
is what the children are calling it.
It's a little like Crystal Castles. Yeah, and it's kind of polygonal pixels.
Yeah, and like my main issue when the game first came out was the driving was great. The walking around the city though was a little rough because you couldn't really see the items you needed to pick up. You had to kind of depend on the mini map, and you would get caught on geometry of some things that you didn't even realize were there. So I played about, I want to say halfway through the game, and then I was like, I think I saw that they were going to add they were talking about adding first person, so I was like, I'm just going to come back when they add first person. Then they added first person, so I went back to it, and I beat it, and then the day after I beat it, they were like, we're adding first person cockpit driving, and I was like, oh yeah, because it is a very fun and immersive game. That you kind of get sucked into, like the world and just the music, the atmosphere is just very strong. The writing is pretty funny some of the time. I felt the ending fell a little flat, which is probably the only bad thing I have to say about the game.
Like,
honestly,
was it so ruinously disappointing, or it was just kind of
it wasn't horrible. It was just kind of like, oh. Yeah.
Kind of a sigh of an ending as opposed to a triumphant shriek.
That's an ending. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. It was just kind of like okay.
That's
it wasn't
so
bad.
I
it was just kind of like, yeah. You could have done something a little more, but especially just because like you can super see everything kind of coming, and you're
exactly.
Okay, all right. And like the thing too about the ending is that there's a pretty significant choice, which is why I also want to go back to it. There's a pretty significant choice, and I don't know how much it affects the ending, which is why I want to go back to it, because I picked the thing that seemed to least affect the ending, like the world.
Yes.
So I have to go back and do the thing that will probably either be very good or very bad, and see how that fares. So I'm going to play through that again, and more on that later, but... overall, really good game. Super fun, super immersive. The driving feels pretty good for a Bloxel art, like 3D environment where you have a Y-axis and an H-axis and a Z-axis. Like, just like you got a lot of shit to keep in mind. It's
kind of robust, yeah.
And once you get used to it, you start like... I mean, it's kind of like actual bike messengering where, like, once you get used to it, you're just kind of cutting corners that are super sketchy, but you still pull it off, and you're like, yeah, I'm doing it. It's just like the training.
It hits a sweet spot for you.
Yeah, specifically me. But yeah, overall good game. Ending fell a little flat, but that doesn't take away from the fact that it's still a pretty immersive game. The soundtrack is really good, and the characters for the most part are super well written. You get pretty attached to a couple of them. I guess the most standout one is Huxley, who is a PI whose like processor got kind of messed up, so he actually is just talking like a PI novel.
That's
where
really
he'll
funny.
be like, the dame asked me if I needed help. I knew she didn't want to, but I knew she'd come through. And then like you have to go pick up like, and you're just like, Huxley, just fucking talk like a normal android, please.
That's quite.
And he's
good.
like,
I like
the
that.
dame was annoyed with how. Yeah, it was like, I think he's probably the strongest written character in the whole game.
That's really funny. I like that. That's quite charming.
Yeah, it was pretty cute.
All right.
And he's surprisingly a fairly big chunk of the end game, so that's fun. And yeah, pretty good game.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time, actually. I would like to give it a try if they ever port it to Switch.
Yeah, I think it's in the plans, but it's one of those, like, I think they're gonna wait till they fully flesh it out, because they're still, like, they're doing update after update, right? Like,
that sounds about right. Okay.
Yeah, so it'll probably be a definitive edition that gets ported to consoles or whatever.
That'll be good when that comes, because it seems like it's kind of something I'd like to try out. And
yeah,
I need a nice driving game.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like, none of it's really stressful. You have some timed missions, but even resulting in failure, it doesn't, like, you're not reprimanded that much. You're not going to get a game over. I think it kind of falls into that David Cage thing where there's like no game overs. It just kind of continues.
It just kind of goes on.
But not as bad as David Cage.
Just to clarify for the people who are unfamiliar with the term driving game, when I say driving game, I don't mean a racing game. I mean a game where you drive a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the difference between like Outrun and like Ridge Racer or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But but that sounds like a lot of fun. Like I said, a couple of weeks ago or a couple of months ago, I suppose now, when I purchased that big the big kind of charity thing from itch.io. I got Wheels of Aurelia and I tried to play it and it fucking crashed my PC. And I was so hyped to play a driving game again. And I couldn't play that one, and I was a little upset about it.
Cloudpunk is a hard recommend.
I'm gonna have to try that because it seems like it's right up my alley. I'm just gonna need to wait for it to come to Switch.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds like a lot of fun though. Anything else?
I got a little deeper into Alice Madness Returns.
We're revisiting this one now.
Yes, I've been playing it with my partner. And it's really good. It's like the attention to detail's fun. The platforming feels really nice. Like everything about the game just feels good.
Now, if I'm correct, this is kind of like a hack and slash, right?
It's a Banjo-Kazooie meets. It's a Banjo-Kazooie. Jak and Daxter meets Banjo-Kazooie. It's kind of a
third-person
collectathon
action platformer.
Yeah, action platformer would be the best one. It's not necessarily a collectathon. It's definitely not a la God of War because the combos are not long enough.
Okay, so
you do have weapon upgrades, but yeah, it's a little mashy, but it's not annoyingly mashy.
See, whenever I used to look at videos of that game, I guess I just always got the impression that it was some kind of hack and slash.
I mean, it's kind of hack and slash, but there's a lot more platforming than hack and slashing so far.
Okay, that's interesting.
there's
I
a-
honestly wasn't aware of that.
There's like weapon upgrades that it's kind of like Metroidvania-ish,
Oh,
hack and
wow, okay.
slashy, but Metroidvania-ish in the sense that you get upgrades that will like it's pretty linear. So I guess Metroidvania is not the right
Oh,
term.
okay. There's just a
But,
lot
like,
of revisiting
that-
areas, I suppose.
No, not even. It's
Oh,
just
wow, okay.
you get upgrades that will allow you to progress. So I guess Metroidvania is not. Yeah, it's not. It's the wrong term, but it's per area upgrades. Like you'll get a pepper gun, which you have to use to shoot certain things that are at a distance that'll make platforms appear, and then like where we just got to, you have a God, what is it? I don't remember what it's called, but it's like a chess piece on a stick. So it's like a mallet, I guess, that'll break heavier doors that you can't break usually.
That's pretty interesting.
I don't know if revisiting levels is a thing. If it is, then I'll have to check it out and go back with all these new things, but I don't think it was. But like overall, like just attention to detail, like we had just gotten out of the Mad Hatter world where you get this weird boss fight, and spoilers, Mad Hatter dies. Like you help kill the rabbit and
the March Hare.
else. Yeah, and like someone else who's at the tea party or whatever.
Okay.
And Mad Hatter's like, yeah, we did it. And Mad Hatter ends up being super fucking evil and an asshole. And you're like, oh god, what did we do? And then he gets crushed by like some gears or whatever. Because the Mad Hatter world is very like steampunk. Which
Okay.
I have an appreciation for, but also got super tired of. I was like, yeah, okay.
Again, it's
It's steampunk. I hate steampunk.
I feel like we're both in the camp of being entirely burnt out for the most part by steampunk.
Oh god, I'm so over it. It's so
I have so many friends who were like
no
in
sense
illustration school, right? And they were just like, we were so tired of steampunk and people doing steampunk because it's always like pointless aesthetic flourishes.
Yeah,
on like
it's just
things that don't need them. Like stick some gears and pipes and some like valves
and it'll be
onto
steampunk.
a thing, and it doesn't make any sense.
And it's like, what's the point of that? Like, at least Cyberpunk is like, oh, why does this person have glowy eyes? Like, oh, so they can see in the dark. Or like, why does their arm like have all those lines on it? It's like, oh, because it opens up and it's super strong.
I feel like
okay.
steampunk is a lot more in the camp of fantasy than it really is science fiction for me.
It's like glue gears on this top hat. There you go.
Oh god, there was somebody that used to walk around my Sejep with a fucking top hat and goggles.
Was it Dawson?
No, not at Dawson.
Okay.
At John Abbott.
Okay, because there was someone at Dawson that kind of did that.
That's not a surprise. I'm sure there were people at Dawson who did that too. Christ. Yeah. Oh my god.
No, I never went to Dawson. I just creeped around with my friends who did go to Dawson.
Such like a tiresome thing to see people like that. Like I get it. It's their hobby. I shouldn't be too like.
No, that's it. It's like rockabilly though to me, where I'm like, oh, I can appreciate it, but God, I don't want to talk to you. I can tell we're not gonna get along.
Yeah, just steampunk.
Unless you bring me a beer, but then don't talk to me. We can just kind of.
We can sit in vicinity of one another.
Yeah, unless you want to talk about like video games, but not
steampunk video games.
Not steampunk video games.
It's like, a weird thing too, because like a lot of
Chrono Trigger's
my favorite
cool.
games
I guess
are like steampunk-y, but not fully steampunk. Like they're not so entirely consumed by like a neo-Victorian aesthetic.
Well, I mean,
that
it's
they
like
end up
they'll
looking
have
boring.
Yeah, they'll have like big gears and like it'll be kind of steampunky, but it's not 100% steampunk.
Yeah, like Skies of Arcadia, for instance,
yeah, exactly.
is mildly steampunky. So is a game that hopefully we'll cover on Touch Generation, Nostalgia. That is like lightly steampunk, but not fully, because it's not like they're sticking extra gears on Big Ben or shit, you know?
Yeah, and there's SteamWorld too, which is
SteamWorld, which is like
a super popular thing that started on the
planet,
DS.
Though, like it's set on another planet, and
it makes more sense because everyone's a robot.
And the level of technology is at that level of technology.
Exactly. Whereas
I like backwater sci-fi where it's like science fiction, but like technology has regressed to something a little more meager, a little more like pre-industrial. I always like that in my sci-fi. Like there's a novel series I really like called Chaos Walking, and it's set on like this backwater colony planet that was colonized by humans, and the planet is like the same technology level as like pre-industrial Midwest America.
Yeah.
So it's like everybody talks like they're right out of a Mark Twain book, like fucking Tom Sawyer or some shit.
Yeah. You would really
I love that.
dude, you will love Outer Wilds.
I know, I heard Outer Wilds is exactly like that.
It's just redneck in space.
I love that. That's like
it's
such
amazing.
a good aesthetic.
It is.
I'm very big into like fucking hillbilly shit and rednecks. I love that stuff. It's an aesthetic that I fuck with immensely because it's just it's very homely and proletarian and cool.
I kind of reappropriated it because I was bullied by a lot of rednecks when I lived in Tennessee. So I was like, you know what? I like real tree. I'm gonna make it pink.
That's quite something, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Tennessee is exactly actually what I'm thinking of when I'm like, this is like a place with like real hillbilly culture.
Oh yeah, no,
man.
that's where I got. Yeah.
If you're not white trash, what are you?
Yeah.
You know?
If you're gonna be white, at least do it right. What's your cornbread recipe? I'll judge you on that.
Oh fuck yeah! Cornbread is so good. Man, we need cornbread in like Montreal. That's good stat. Fuck, we need like a good southern barbecue place again because one place
there's
closed.
This one, yeah, but there's also my friend told me about this one place a few years ago where he was like, oh yeah, I went here. They had cornbread, but he's also from Florida, so I was like,
was that Smokin' Pig?
I don't remember the name of the restaurant, but it was in the Plateau.
Right almost right. Oh, it's in the Plateau. It's not where I'm.
Yeah, no, it's in the Plateau, and I was like, oh boy, Plateau restaurant trying to make southern food. How was that? And he's also from Florida, so I was like, did you try their cornbread? I was like, I tried their cornbread. I was like, and he was like, no. I was like, did you try their iced tea? He's like, yeah. I was like, what was it? And he was like, no. I was like, oh.
I went to this very, very good southern barbecue place in Toronto with my partner, and the nicest thing about it was owned and operated by a guy from Texas.
Yes,
so the food was
that's what we need.
Solid. Like, the ribs were out of this world. The smoked sausage was crazy.
Did you have a sloppy Joe?
I did not have a sloppy Joe, but I did have unlimited refills of sweet tea. Ooh. I ate good that day. That food was incredible. I love southern food.
Yeah.
And of course they had like pickles and pickled onions and stuff to go with it.
Southern food kills.
So good. So good. It's the one thing we don't have in Montreal is good southern food. Oh,
hash browns in the morning. That salty ass. I don't even know what it is. I don't want to know what it is, honestly.
Oh, ham and hash. That's what you need. That's so good. All right, back on track to Alice.
Yeah,
sorry, we went on a little southern.
Steampunk brings us places.
Steampunk to the southern food digression, but Alice.
So we beat the Mad Hatter level, which was very steampunk influenced, and I was like, all right, I can appreciate this, but I am sick of it. And my partner was also like, yeah, like it's cool. The music sucks. The audio. The sound design, I mean, in that level was just
I guess it's a lot of like rivets and pistons.
Oh, not even. It was just
like the crashing kind of electronic
it just like
noise.
You're like, oh, okay, I get it, man. Like, yeah,
that's a little
steampunk.
abrasive.
Yeah, and there's this weird bug where I don't know if it's a reoccurring one or if it was just a weird thing, but like there's an audio loop that plays where one of the mini bosses is like, and it's hard to call it even a boss section because all you're doing is like timed platforming where there's like basically like crushing fists that come down that you have to like go turn a valve to open different fists and stop the other fists so you can move on. Like that's basically the boss fight. It's trivial and not super fun or imaginative, but everything else is. Like the dress changes per level, which is really nice. It's a good touch.
You would hope for a game based on Lewis Carroll that like there's a level of imagination being like put into
and like
the design.
I mean, so far that's the coolest thing about the game is you can actually feel the love that went into it.
No, that's very cool.
After you beat the Hatter level, you wake up on a dock with what I can only imagine will be Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Oh shit!
Who will show up a couple of times because it's two like dock workers that are just kind of like, oh, what's the you know, like Tweedledee and
being
Tweedledum
stupid at each other.
Yeah, being stupid at each other and at you aggressively, and you're like, I gotta go, fuck out of here. And then you go through this ice warehouse, and there's a bunch of ice blocks, and there's a couple of God, what are they called? The light fish, Finding Nemo.
Oh, anglerfish.
Anglerfish. I wanted to say danglerfish, but
Danglerfish.
Yeah, because the dangler thing.
I like danglerfish better.
I know. I should be a scientist.
You should have named that. Continue.
But yeah, so like you see a couple of anglerfish and like there's ice everywhere. I was like, oh, I wonder if we're coming up on an ice level, because like the Tweedledee Tweedledum dock thing takes place in the real world and not Alice's like pseudo dementia world, which I think is what the game's leaning for.
Pseudo dementia world.
Yes.
I like that.
But yeah, so I was like, yeah, ice level's coming, whatever. And I was like, oh, that's super original. But then we actually got to the ice world, and her dress changes. That's kind of cool. And her dress actually has an anglerfish on the back. That's and then really like cool. It's like really cute looking. There's like some dots on the front that are like bioluminescent dots, like all down. And I was like, you know what? Shut me the fuck up. That's good design. And even like the snow level, I was like, you know what? This feels fine. This doesn't feel like a snow level where you're slipping and sliding everywhere just for the difficulty spike. And the enemies are imaginative and fun. Like there's little anglerfish that'll hide under the earth, and you have to use your new weapon, which is the knight piece of a chessboard on a stick that you just kind of slam like a sledgehammer to bring them out of the.
That's kind of
they're
awesome.
Hiding. Yeah, no, it's really good.
I like the idea of using a chess piece as a weapon. It's very Lewis Carroll.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense for Alice in Wonderland.
It absolutely does.
We're still pretty early in that level, so I'm not gonna. I don't really have much else to say other than like I'm like, you know what, I'm proud with how the game is keeping up its imaginative and like creativity, and how you can feel that there was like actually care put into this game.
Yeah.
And I think I talked about it last time. It
could have just easily been kind of a cheap piece of shovelware.
Yeah.
Like it reads to me so much as like because it's based on like a this sounds so. It just goes to show you how often the games industry is like this. But whenever I hear about a game being based on something that's kind of a public domain property, like Alice in Wonderland or like Grimm's Fairy Tales, my immediate assumption is this is some fucking shovelware.
Yeah, this is gonna be some ass.
Yeah, like this is really gonna be some fucking ass.
And the fact that it's not is super sick.
That's really quite cool. But it just to show you how often, like, if it's not an original IP for a game company, if it's not something entirely original and it's not part of like, say, a greater pre-existing media franchise, it's rare that it ever gets any kind of recognition or any kind of, I don't know, attention from the public.
Yeah.
Because it simply doesn't have any.
And even this game, I feel like probably kind of went under the radar for a lot of people. I literally didn't know fucking anything about this shit until like I was reading about it very recently. I still, once again, obviously didn't even have quite kind of an impression of what kind of a game it was until you started talking about it. Yeah. And it's a really good game. I mean, I would highly recommend it if you're looking for a action platformer / kind of collect-a-thon-y thing. It's been super enjoyable.
I'm glad that like mid-tier developers making games like that is a thing that's happening again, because I felt like the previous console generation, it was really rare to see anything that wasn't like a AAA game. And this is like a game like Alice is exactly what I'm happy we're kind of going back to now. Like you're seeing people like, Hellblade is a really good example of a game that's kind of, mid-tier, not quite AAA, but has a lot of attention, time, and detail put into it. And look how well received Hellblade was because of that.
Yeah.
It's nice to see that games like this have like, stuff that's between the indie stuff and between AAA studios.
Yeah. And like I feel like we're getting to a point where that's more common.
And wider and wider.
Yeah, but I feel like we're getting to a point where that's more common too, where like there's a oh no, I feel horrible. Hold on. Puppet Combo. Thank God. I didn't have to look it up. Puppet Combo is making PS2 era looking horror games, and they are some of the most terrifying games I have ever seen or played to date. To the point where I'm actually going to start streaming a couple of them.
Very nice.
They're not super complicated or super fleshed out, really. Like, I think he pumps like 1 out a month, which is already insanity.
That's kind of insane, yeah. One a month?
I don't know if that's what it is anymore, but I know there was a point where it was
not
almost
necessarily super long games.
No, they're not. But they're
that's
effective.
Still quite impressive.
And like, I mean, to be fair, there's some problems with those games, but it's one person making a game a month.
Of course, there's going to be problems with it. Like, it's
inevitable. Is it still a game a month? I don't know if it's still a game a month, but I know at one point it was about that. And that shit was insanity.
That's quite something, I have to say. That's honestly a major developing accomplishment.
And like, that's it. We're hitting the point where like PS1, PS2 era graphics are coming back in the indie scene.
Yeah,
as
polygonal,
low poly,
slightly higher end. Low poly stuff with those kind of textures that you see from that era.
Even Cry of Fear, which is I think a Gmod game.
Gmod, oh my god.
Yeah.
Those are some things I haven't heard in a long time.
Welcome to talking to me. But yes, Gmod. I think it's a Gmod thing. But anyway, like the thing about PS2 and PS1 era horror games is that the low poly added something to it. Like even just going back to Silent Hill with Anthony sometimes, even Silent Hill 4, which is one of the more recent ones, like it's still kind of low poly, and you're like, man, something about the low poly models of horror games, like knowing this is supposed to look kind of human, but it being low poly, it adds to the like,
yeah. Like no hate towards the most recent Resi remakes or anything, but
like
they're
I was about
honestly
to say,
not as scary.
What I was about to say is Resident Evil 7 is my prime example for this, and the molded is a good base enemy, but the problem I had with the molded in Resident Evil 7, oops, sorry, I hit my mic, is that that's all that there is as an enemy in that. And yeah, okay, there's different kind of moldeds. There's the explodey ones, whatever. But like, as a character model, it's just the like there's the bosses too. Like Resident Evil 7 is not a bad game. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying
not at all.
Resident Evil 7 fell short for me because the common enemy
variety.
Yeah, the common enemy is this one thing that was scary at first, but after your like 13th one, you're like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and then
Resident Evil 2 remake.
The Resi remakes, they scale the gore up quite a bit.
They do, which
so
is
like a
what it
lot
needs.
of the horror of those individual zombies that you're fighting, even though they're all zombies, they all look super different, and the gore factor is quite. The gore factor is
what adds to the scariness of that one.
Some of them are just rather disgusting.
Yeah.
Really?
And like that's what's good about RE2. That's why the jump from RE7 to RE2 was so amazing to me. And like, okay, RE2 is already it. Like, I have nostalgia goggles for RE2 in any sense. I will say that OG RE2 is a perfect game. Nothing needed to change. RE2 remake is somehow a miracle in which they made a amazing game even more amazing.
Yeah, they did a lot to kind of work.
Oh god,
the older Resi
bonus round on RE2.
That. Honestly, we could do a whole bonus round on Resident Evil in general because I freaking love that series, and I will talk about it any day.
I wanted to talk about I wanted to talk to the GameCube is cool guys to see if they were gonna do a RE episode.
Because
there's RE remake and RE Zero.
Oh yeah, and Resident Evil 4, the best version of that game.
Oh my god, I forgot RE4 was on the GameCube.
The best version of RE4 is on GameCube, and it was a GameCube exclusive for at least a year.
Yep.
But
I'll cut my head off if RE4 ever comes onto the PS2.
Kamiya's head.
Somehow still has a head. It wasn't Kamiya, it was
Mikami.
Yeah, Mikami.
Sorry, Mikami.
But, yeah, Kamiya had already moved on.
Kamiya had moved on. He had almost.
He was doing Bayonetta.
Starting up to do Bayo. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's quite the quite the statement, and he certainly did later on. But what a great series. But yeah, it's cool to see that era of kind of low poly survival horror gaming is returning, and it's once again it's carving itself out a space in the indie scene that I think we're only going to see kind of expand, because look how many indie games for such a long time were pixel art, right?
Yeah, and that's another thing too. There's something about a certain kind of low poly that also is forever golden. Like Resident Evil 2, Silent Hill 2.
Silent Hill 2 always looks good.
Silent Hill 2 will never look bad unless you're playing the HD remake, in which they made the fog.
The shit out of that.
because the fog was for the draw distance, and then they fucked that up.
Yeah,
How do you fuck that up?
Anyway. Imagine failing to understand like the basic reason for that fog existing.
Yeah,
fucking
especially
the people who ported those games did a very bad job.
Yeah, especially with the ability to just call someone from Konami. But yeah, I mean Konami, whatever. We don't
have to talk about Konami. No. I don't want to. That's just
we could have had
like,
PT. We could have had PT.
We could have had.
I can't believe that project got canceled. Why? Every time I think about the fact that got canceled, I'm like, did you not see the response to the playable trailer?
Massively infuriating.
What did you? How?
Well, just goes to show you how little Konami gives a fuck about gaming.
Let's make Silent Hill a pachinko machine.
There we go. And hey, guess what? It's going to have better graphics than any Silent Hill you've ever seen. Let's make Metal Gear Solid 3 pachinko look better than the HD port of Metal Gear Solid 3. Let's straight up reanimate the cutscenes entirely.
Man, Konami.
Fucking bastards. All right.
Okay, so yeah, that was Alice.
Yeah, Alice is a cool thing, and I'm happy it exists. And I'm happy that more games like it are now starting to exist again.
Yeah. Talking to no, that's not what I meant to say. Other than that, I've mostly been practicing combos in Them's Fighting Herds, which remains a good game. Was on sale for 33% on Steam. Shout out. Not sure if it still is. If it is not, I'm sorry. You missed it.
But you should pick it up regardless.
Keep an eye out for it, because, I mean, even off sale, I think it's worth...
It's worth every penny you pay for.
It's a very good fighting game. It's I'm starting to understand it way more now, playing more of it, because the thing with Them's Fighting Herds is the characters are like on 4 legs, right? Mm-hmm. So they're wider than they are tall. But I'm used to like the 2-legged characters, which are a little bit taller than they are wide.
They take up a different kind of space. Hitboxes are different.
And like even just how they play is a little different. So I'm starting to get used to it, and I've been labbing Velvet a lot.
The very notion of a fighting game starring quadrupedal characters is like, that's novel in of itself. Like that's kind of a very different pitch already.
I think it's a first.
I don't know if I'd feel comfortable calling it the first, because I'm sure there have been other games that have at least attempted it. Like, I mean, Primal Rage exists, and I believe like that has some quadrupedal characters in it.
I don't think so.
It doesn't?
No. Oh. Primal Rage. Wait, hold on.
I mean, are there not characters that are?
No, I'm thinking of Bloody Roar. I'm talking
about Primal Rage, like the stop motion monster fighting game. Yeah, which is a good game, by the way. You should play Primal Rage. It's very fun, but especially if you're a fan of monster movies, because it's just a monster mash simulator. Yeah. But what's cool about Primal Rage is that a lot of the characters you play as are just like, that's just a fucking dinosaur.
Yeah.
And that's a different kind of fighting game, obviously. So I guess Them's Fighting Herds isn't exactly the first, but I'd say it's the first to really prominently go entirely in on the idea of a fighting game in which many of the characters take up a horizontal space as opposed to a vertical space.
And like I think that's one of the things that I just didn't I had a hard time getting used to, but it's starting to sink in. Like I've been labbing, and the numbers just keep getting bigger on the combos, and the loops keep getting bigger. So I'm like, yes,
give me the loops.
It's coming.
That sounds pretty good, actually. Them's Fighting Herds, I really need to. I will hope they port it to Switch. I want them to port it to the Switch and give it crossplay, because
I feel like it's probably coming. It's a very small team, so like I'm just like, you guys do whatever you need to do. You've already done more than enough.
No, they've truly created something special with that.
Yeah.
Main Six, like, honestly,
Main Six is killing it.
Fucking
And
hands up to you guys. You're so good.
If you want to know more on the backstory of Them's Fighting Herds, Hold Back to Block has a very good documentary about the making of Them's Fighting Herds. It's I think it's a little old now. I think it dates from like 2018, maybe 2019. I'm not sure.
I mean,
I don't
that's
know
not
anymore.
that old, all things
Time is
considered.
weird,
The
but-
information is relevant regardless.
No, that's it.
That game had a very interesting development cycle. I think we spoke about it when we first started talking about the game a couple of episodes ago.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's really quite interesting.
The fact that game
they managed to
exists
do.
at all is a
Well, it's nothing short of a miracle.
Yeah, is nothing short of a miracle, and the fact that the game is amazing is like a godsend.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's good. And I'm very excited for Shanty to come out, the King K. Rool reference.
Who does not love a pirate goat?
The King K. Rool reference, and also Strider.
Yes, that's true.
Like,
that's quite something.
Hitting me in all my soft spots. But...
all these things that you love so dearly.
other than that, Mario Odyssey continues.
Good game, eh?
It continues to be a good game.
I really, something. Where are you now in the game?
I'm still in the desert level, but like last time we talked, I was just starting the desert level. Now
now you've
done
seen
the
a little
desert
bit
level.
more of it, eh?
Yeah, I'm cleaning up. I'm falling down the hole to the ice part. Yeah,
to the big.
So
boss.
I'm kind of like, oh god, ice. Great.
That's a
I
really
hate
great,
ice in
great
video
stage,
games,
actually.
but it's fun. It does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's pretty good week.
I have one movie I want to talk about.
Yeah, of course.
That I
What did
did
you
watch. Yeah, I guess I watched two.
Okay.
Parasite. I finally.
You finally watched
all of
Parasite. This is this next part we call cinema anticapitalista.
Yeah,
Here we go.
anti-capitalism.
Anticapitalista.
Boy, oh boy, that movie. That movie's good.
What a harsh film.
What a harsh film.
Yeah.
The
harsh is the word I use to describe Parasite. Harsh. It's really quite something.
And like I think the most interesting part of it is watching it as it's like it's a low income family who remains a capitalist family but just doesn't have the money. But once they start like getting into the mansion and like being blah 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 whatever, they're like just as bad as the actual family that lives in the like mansion.
It goes to show you that chasing ideals or pursuing the like I guess the kind of the horrible ideals of the rich as a poor person damns you to the same
shit.
them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like you can't hope to achieve wealth by emulating the wealthy. That's not how it works.
No one should be a billionaire because you're only a billionaire because you fucked over a lot of people.
Billionaires only exist because people suffer. Because people have suffered to get those billionaires to that place, and people's labor has been exploited. And that is a movie about a group of people from an exploited lower class.
A horribly exploited lower class.
Horribly exploited. They live in like... I don't think the only word I can use to describe is fucking squalor. Yeah. Their toilet... they live in squalor.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Their toilet is like on a fucking ledge up towards the ceiling.
Because if it's lower, it'll shoot up all the time.
It's insane.
Which is shown actually when the city's flooding.
Oh yeah.
The fact that the water level is rising above the toilet makes the toilet shoot the fuck up and like blow all their shit back at them, and you're like, yeah, that makes sense.
But if you're not familiar with Parasite, although you should be, it is a South Korean film directed by Bong Joon-ho, and it is, I don't know, like the Oscar film this year. Like it cleaned up at the awards.
Yeah, which is
Bong
surprising
got,
in itself.
4 Oscars for it. That's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the people involved did such an excellent job in portraying like such a horrific story. And not only is it like a really compelling thriller, but as we've been saying, like a compelling critique of capitalism and like
and
how,
the idealizing the high capitalist society that is currently
well, exactly
the goal of a lot of people for the wrong reasons.
Exactly, and emulating those in a higher class than them in order to somehow achieve the same thing.
Yeah, I want to be Jeff Bezos, or I want to be Elon Musk. And it's like, no, you don't.
Because you don't want to have to do the things they do.
You want your neighbor to not have to starve. Like, I don't know.
You don't want to, I mean, look at Elon Musk. All of his wealth is mainly from like the accumulated wealth of his parents, which comes from South African emerald mining.
We love profiting off of
apartheid. We love blood emeralds. Like, thanks. And the same thing goes for Bezos. How many people has he exploited in the fucking pyramid scheme that is working for Amazon?
God,
like it's fucking horrible.
The fuck. There's that picture of him when he started up Amazon early on in like a garage or whatever, and people were like, he started in the garage, blah blah blah. I was like, yeah, his parents also gave him like $30,000 or some shit.
A $30,000 loan to start that business. Like, dude. He
was
did not
fine.
Start that off of the fucking
He wasn't
ground.
living in that garage.
His parents had $30,000 to give him as a fucking loan. For God's
well,
sakes.
I mean, what's the Trump quote? My parents gave me $1 million loan.
A small loan of $1 million. Yeah.
Yeah, like what?
This is how separate and
out of touch,
completely out of touch the upper class are, guys. Like. And we will be going to more out of touch shit later, because out of touch is like the word, is like the term of the week this week.
Yeah,
out of touch. But,
the out of touch episode.
It has been fucking something.
Reminder: you have more in common with the crackhead screaming about pigeons on St. Catherine than you do with Jeff Bezos, and you will have. And you never will have any.
You'll never be any closer to Jeff Bezos than you.
So be friends with the crackheads and give them guns and go to Jeff Bezos' house. That's all I'm saying.
Straight up, arm the homeless, man. You got to do it. But it's quite something, that movie. I'm glad that you liked it.
Yeah, it was really good. The second movie, which I won't get too into because it's pretty rough. But the original, I Spit on Your Grave.
Oh boy.
Very good movie. Very, very good. Very satisfying. Very hard watch. Very not feel good movie.
That is a very elemental, visceral kind of viewing experience.
Yeah, it was a hard watch.
Not a surprise.
The only thing that kind of makes it an easy watch is I mean, if you've seen it, you'll know what I'm talking about, but if you haven't, I'm not going to go into much detail because it's very a trigger warning for like sexual assault stuff. So I'm not going to go into much detail, but the male actors are just so extreme and like almost comedic in the way they're doing actions, that it kind of like lowered the intensity, not in like a bad way. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, I'm not having a panic attack right now. I'm just kind of like,
it's for anybody unfamiliar with like I Spit on Your Grave, it's a movie from the late 70s that was really controversial when it came out. Like, it was an X-rated movie, and it's controversial because it belongs to the pardon me for saying the rape revenge subgenre.
That's
like a really it was super big at the time, and even like some of people's like most like revolutionary and well loved movies kind of belong to that genre.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's a genre that I like a lot.
Well, it's interesting because it is a genre that is like dually both kind of empowering to women but exploitive of them at the same time.
Yeah,
it's a very controversial kind of genre in cinema because of the lens and the intent can differ kind of based on who is directing and writing them.
Exactly. It depends on the movie and the director and stuff. I feel like I Spit on Your Grave does it pretty okay though.
Yeah, it is still a movie from 1978, so it's not as unhinged a sexual assault as like something that you would maybe see in more recent cinema.
Yeah.
But it's
I
still
mean, it's
rather
still like a good
it's
20 minutes straight of like, oh no.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
It's not pleasant to watch, and it's not
No.
meant to be, because it's not shot in a way that I personally find was intended to be titillating to a male audience.
No,
Like
exactly.
it's grave and violent and kind of psychologically horrible the whole time. And
I mean, like one of the things that I think I watched it with my partner, and my partner made like a really good point, which I also noticed while watching the movie, is that while the assaults are happening, it's more focused on the victim, and no, it's more focused on the
the assaulter.
Yeah, the assaulter. Yeah. And you hear like more of like the victim and stuff, and like the victim's like, I don't remember who played the victim in that movie, but she did an amazing job in that acting.
Yeah,
because it was still hard to watch, even though the male actors were like kind of comedically thrashing about.
Yeah. Like it's not a film that I would personally consider voyeuristic in any way.
Sorry, you cut out.
Oh, pardon me. It's not a movie that I personally consider voyeuristic.
Yeah.
Like I don't find it's gross or exploitive in the way that other movies of the genre have been and are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. It's kind of one of those touchy genres where like you can fuck it up.
Yeah.
Pretty rough.
It's the same with
Teeth.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good example. I love Teeth. Teeth is a great movie though, because it's such a great kind of reversal of the expectations people might have for that genre too. And it's also just an entertaining and empowering movie.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a weird thing with Teeth where I just don't like the way it was filmed.
Well,
like,
I
don't like the pacing. I don't like
the editing is a little slapdash.
Yeah, so agree. Like that kind of takes me out of it. But like it's not per se a bad movie. It's just editing is a thing that I'm really shticky about, and anyone who has talked to me about Glee knows, because there's one scene in Glee that ruined Glee for me, where I was like, I'm never watching Glee.
I mean, that was a smart decision. I imagine you regretted it.
Well, I mean,
anyways.
I've had so many people recommend Glee to me, and I was like, I don't know. And then I watched one scene, and it happened to be that one scene where it's just, God, I don't even. I'd have to ask Alex, because I don't even remember anything other than just I was like, the editing's so bad, I don't even want to know. Because it's just cut after cut, and apparently it was cut after cut because the actress was having a hard time doing that scene because she was like, I'm being too mean.
Oh gosh. So
like I was like, okay, that's fair, but like just cut the scene at that point, because like the editing is just so bad. Anyway, editing is like a big thing for me in movies. So
I mean, editing is what, you know, the goal of an editor's work.
Bohemian Rhapsody
is to be invisible, right? Like when I was in film school, the thing that we were always told with our editing, and we were told to kind of, you know, aim for with our editing, is unless we were personally, attempting to draw attention to the editing for stylistic reasons, the goal of any good editor should be for their work to be invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And any editing that doesn't conform to that is rough to kind of,
unless you're doing a B movie and the goal is to be a bad movie. Well, then you have to have a special talent for good editing.
You know, drawing attention to the editing by making it intentionally kind of jarring or awful, or like really, really present, can give a film character. Yeah. But if that's not the goal or the stated goal of the filmmaker, then it just is distracting. Bohemian Rhapsody is a very good example of a movie with such horrendous editing that
I hope whoever edited that movie got fired.
Shocks me to this very day that it was nominated and won for Best Editing.
I don't want to talk about that.
It's what a sham to me. What a fucking sham.
Honestly, a fucking joke.
Yeah, a joke. And a bad one at that. Like a really bad joke. But I Spit on Your Grave. It's not something that I think you'd recommend to many people.
I mean,
it's an interesting movie.
I'd recommend it just as like if you're comfortable watching that kind of movie, I would recommend it. But I know it's definitely not for everyone, so I can't give it a hard recommend. But I'd say it's one of the better movies I've watched from like the 70s.
All right.
I enjoyed it, and
I mean, the 70s were a very good era for experimental and kind of transgressive horror.
We got Friday the 13th. We got Freddy.
Oh, the OG Friday the 13th. Nah, that's the 80s Freddy. Freddy is squarely an 80s character. But
like early 80s, right?
Yeah, very early 80s.
Yeah, so
but
like,
he's
definitely
definitely
the 70s.
He's very much the VHS era of horror.
Yeah.
But I mean, late 70s. One of my favorite movies of all time, Death Dream, is it's directed by the director of the original Black Christmas.
Yeah.
Which, if you don't know anything about the original Black Christmas, that's the movie that inspired Halloween, the original Halloween by John Carpenter. But Death Dream is this great 70s movie that's about a Vietnam veteran returning home to his family, only for his family to realize that he's become something else. And they're not quite explicit with what he is. Something kind of between a zombie and a vampire. But it's this being existing in a suburban space, and it's just comment on like the effects of like, and the effects of trauma on young people returning from the Vietnam War. Really, really great Canadian horror movie. Yeah, Death Dream. It's also called Dead of Night in some places. You might know it by that name. But Death Dream kicks ass, great 1970s horror. And fucking scary and fucked up at points.
What year did Society come out in? Hold on.
Ooh, I don't know. That's a good question.
89, so it's not 70s. But
no, that's late 80s for sure. It's definitely not 70s.
But that's one of my faves too in terms of old horror. If you don't know anything about Society, good, watch it.
Yeah, go into that blind.
Just go in.
Time. Actually, speaking of things, I recommend people go into blind. I didn't play very many games this week. I can update people on what I played after I'm finished this. But a hearty and hard recommendation from me in this great time of boredom and seeking of media.
Isolation and...
to consume. Is
the Great Hermiting is what we're going to call it.
Yeah, is a series from Cartoon Network called Infinity Train. I just finished the third season yesterday with my friend. She came over and we sat down outside. It was very nice out, and we watched the whole third season. Every episode's 10 minutes, so it's easy to get through a whole season, and if it's 10 episodes for 10 minutes, But, oh my god. Infinity Train is really incredible. So, it's a series that was pitched as a pilot in 2016 to Cartoon Network. And in 2019, 2 seasons of Infinity Train aired that were kind of just like dropped kind of out of nowhere. Like they aired them on Cartoon Network in a way that made them kind of like bingeable.
Yeah.
And then they were quickly released, I think, on the Cartoon Network app. But, oh, pardon me, I'm hiccuping. But Infinity Train, for those who are not aware, is an anthology mystery thriller / like science fiction series, and it's, I think, pretty intently aimed at like an older kid to teen demographic. It's an animated series, but it's very compelling to watch an anthology show written for kids that handles the material it handles with so much tact and responsibility. So the series' basic premise, and I'm gonna only stray as far as giving you the premise because any more detail I think would kind of spoil a great deal of it. And though I'm not sensitive to spoilers, I don't want people to go into this knowing more what to expect because it's really quite something. If you haven't heard anything,
we're on like the opposite spectrum of spoilers where I'm like, don't tell me anything.
Yeah, we are truly. And I'm not going to go so far into spoiler territory with this. But anyway, the premise of Infinity Train is that in this ghostly kind of ethereal wasteland, which is endless and monster infested, there is a train, a colossal train running infinitely, hence the name, on a track. And each car of this train is a different world.
Yo, that's sick. So it's a Dyson sphere, but a train.
Yes. And every world you can enter and exit through a door. The worlds are each contained in this colossal car on this train. humans are brought to this train by some outside force and must undergo basically a trial of wits, of testing their humanity, and make their way through the train in each car, kind of solving the puzzle that each car presents to them. And each car is specially kind of tailored to the people that appear on the train, but they vary from like worlds entirely populated by like anthropomorphic turtles to a world that looks like a map drawn on like an old piece of parchment paper. Mm-hmm. Like, it's the design of each world varies so radically, and the human characters that appear in the series vary dramatically in their motivations, their goals, how they get to the train, why they want to get off, or why they might not even want to get off. But it's a very, very interesting series. It's very cryptic and full of a lot of mystery and suspense, and even, dare I say, some actually pretty straight horror at times, and a lot of cool sci-fi shit. But Infinity Train is a hard recommendation for me. Each season stars a small core cast of characters who complete their story arc in a season, and then characters from the season that are introduced alongside them carry over and become major players in the following season. So you'll be introduced to, say, one character in season 1, and they might not be a main character. They might only appear for one episode. But in season 2, that character might be the main character.
Nice.
Pretty interesting, right? It's a good premise for an anthology series. So it is an anthology. Each season is a self-contained story, though I do recommend you watch the seasons in order, because little bits and pieces of information about the origin of the train, why the train is what it is and why it does what it does, are peppered throughout, but the characters within the story don't ever learn fully what the train is. Only the audience by the end of the 3 seasons might have a clearer picture. But the characters themselves, because of how the information about the train is distributed per season, only glean so much, which is really, really interesting. And once again, Infinity Train, you can watch it on the Cartoon Network app, I believe, the first seasons, but season 3 is exclusively on HBO Max. And Owen Dennis, the creator of the series, very talented animator and showrunner, along with his excellent crew, have stated that if the series does well on HBO Max, if season 3 is successful, and if people watch it on that app, they will be afforded probably the potential to do a 4th and maybe even 5th season. But for now, they have actually halted production. So the show is effectively in limbo until the success is out on it. However, I will say, if the show only is 3 seasons long, the 3rd season ended at a great point that I felt, if this is the end, I'm content with this.
Good. That's rare.
I'm content with that.
I feel like the problem now is like either a show ends too soon or the show just goes on way too long.
Well, 30 minutes, 30 episodes of 30 10-minute episodes is a lot, you know? That's 300 hours of content right there. So, that's a lot of stuff already. They don't need to do more for the series to be satisfying. However, because of the infinite storytelling potential of the show's format, they could easily tell another bunch of stories.
Yeah, but that's and it's already impressive since Black Mirror went 5 seasons and only was good for 1.
Yes. Meanwhile, the reboot of The Twilight Zone, by the way, is still good 2 seasons in. So we'll see where they're going there. Maybe that's because Jordan Peele is involved.
I was just about to say, Jordan Peele's doing good work.
It's a really, really excellent series, by the way.
Us is probably one of my favorite movies of recent memory, TBH.
One of the most fucked up films I've ever watched.
Man,
genuinely fucked up.
Who was the actress in that again?
Lupita Nyong'o.
The main actress? Sorry?
Lupita Nyong'o, yeah.
Oh.
An amazing job, right?
Amazing job on both ends of the spectrum.
Of the us spectrum, yeah. Which, if you haven't seen it, you'll get it when you watch it.
God.
But, you guys should be watching Infinity Train if you haven't, and please, if you can, don't watch it illegally. If you legally have the means to watch it on HBO Max, please do, because the show could use that support.
Yeah.
Or at least encourage other people to do so if you're going to recommend it to people. But Infinity Train is very, very good, and I was consistently floored with, like I said, how tactfully and respectfully it dealt with the myriad themes that it kind of, I guess, drums up. Because there are a lot of characters, very human characters on this series that deal with very human problems, and some of them, I would say, are even kind of new territory for an animated series aimed primarily at teens.
Nice.
Because some of the shit that is dealt with, and some of the existential questions that arise due to certain characters' arcs, or just the way certain character arcs in the series conclude or progress, it's rather mature, and at times, even by the end of season 3, though I won't say why, shockingly violent and really like heavy. So it's a heavy show. It's very good. It's a great series about processing trauma, and I felt it was kind of a healing experience watching it.
Yeah.
Because it imagines a world in which processing trauma is a different thing from what it is in our world.
Mm-hmm.
Because the journey that it takes you on, and the journey that the train takes each person or passenger on, is like tailored to them and to what they're dealing with. So very, very interesting series. Infinity Train is very cool. Please give it a watch. Please try and watch it on HBO. And then I guess for the gaming that I did this week, you beat Cloudpunk, so that was a thing for you, right? My milestone of the week was I finally paid off my final loan in Animal Crossing, so I'm now entirely debt-free.
Oh god,
and
what the hell?
I'm free to go frickin' nuts with my island. And I cannot wait to do that. But it's nice to be debt-free. I wish I was debt-free in real life.
Never.
No,
Not
but I am
society.
debt-free in Animal Crossing, and the reward, because they can't expand your house further than the furthest expansion,
Yeah.
the reward is that you can customize your house infinitely for free for once a day.
Oh, nice.
Which is pretty nice. So instead of making you pay $5,000 per remodel now, it's just entirely free. That's the final kind of reward.
Deal. That's
It's
cool.
a pretty good reward because, you want to change up the look of your town. It's easier when you don't have to put down fucking $5,000 each time.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's pretty good.
As for Animal Crossing, I have to hop into my friend's account because I have also been continuing, but I have to hop into my friend's account so I can steal their axe or something because I just can't get a fucking stone for the life of me. And I read apparently they spawn sometimes next to the rocks, but I just can't.
They do. Every day there should be at least 2 or 3 stones
There's
spawning
none
next to the rocks. But that's the thing. Because if you don't have like a pole vault, for instance, you might not be able to get to all the rocks on the island.
Yeah.
That's the issue. I think the first thing you need is a vaulting pole.
A pole vault. Yeah, but I need an axe to get a fucking pole vault. Ugh.
Oh, that's true. You do,
game.
don't you? Man.
Yeah, I do.
Animal Crossing is difficult sometimes. I like that New Horizons is like that, though.
Yeah.
It makes the experience feel so much more earned when you finally kind of get everything to where it is.
But New Leaf had a good thing for that, which I was trying to do, but it just didn't work out, where you go to talk to Isabel in New Leaf, and you'd be like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And she's like, shut up. Here's an axe. Just fucking leave me alone.
Yeah, you don't really have
That's
Isabel.
not what she said, but that's what happened.
She said it very cutely and respectfully.
Yeah, she was super nice, drinking her gin.
Yeah, she's probably having a G&T on the side there.
Yeah.
But, I do like that this game makes you work towards kind of where you would usually be starting out in a regular Animal Crossing game. It's just, once again, it just made the whole experience feel so much more earned for me, because all of my hours of labor and effort went towards something that felt truly worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I paid off my final loan, and I progressed further in Mega Man ZX Advent. I am, I suppose, just a stage away from beating the game, like I'm at the final stage. But because of the nature of Mega Man ZX Advent as an kind of an open world Metroidvania style game, there are a myriad of quests that as a kid playing the game I never bothered to complete, that I've decided to kind of work my way through, and a lot of them challenge your platforming and exploration skills to a pretty serious degree. There's an area for. I was doing a quest in this area. The first thing that I want to do is get all the sub tanks in the game, which are just kind of your extra health refills that you can continuously refill as opposed to just expending in one use. So I've went and collected all 4 of the sub tanks in the game, and to get the 4th and final sub tank, it's not just a matter of exploring the stages, but it's a matter of completing a specific quest. So the quest that I took is in this area called the Floating Ruins, where they're just kind of these ruins levitating off the ground. It's a wind area, like a wind stage. And there's these tornadoes everywhere that kind of toss you around, and you have to navigate kind of willy-nilly through the sky using the tornadoes. And some of the abilities that you have allow you to kind of float down through the tornadoes uninhibited by their ability to just kind of fucking shoot you up into the air. So you have to kind of test your might and skill with that in order to seek out 4 kind of old relics for this hunter girl that's kind of in this area. And you got to give her the 4 relics, and the reward for collecting these relics is the 4th sub-tank. But I had a lot of fun doing that because it kind of allowed me to test my knowledge of the game's systems and play around a little bit with what the game has given me in terms of my powers and my transformation abilities. So it makes, these missions are really, I feel, where the game makes full use of the ability that Mega Man Model A in this game has to transform into the game's bosses. Because the bosses have a variety of helpful abilities just on their own, inherent to them, that, I don't know, just really aid in the exploration of these stages. So it's been a really fun time for me finishing that game, and nostalgic since it was a game that I played religiously as a kid. And just kind of finding all these new bits in the game that I guess I never really did. There's also kind of these things you can do where you donate a certain amount of money to a character and to fund a dig, and they dig these kind of things out of the dirt, and they'll dig out new rooms, and new rooms have new people, and new people have new missions for you or new items. So it's been an interesting experience, I guess, finding out what the full scope of this game is. The voice acting remains really bad. It's quite badly voice acted.
Which means it's great.
Which means it's wonderful. This is some Mega Man X4 shit. It's great. Literally some what am I fighting for type shit.
What am I fighting for?
Literally taking out your 2 guns in this animated cutscene and running at the villain just yelling, Master Albert! Quite good. I
should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light.
This is straight up the kind of shit that it is. So it's really, really fun and dopey, and some of the dialogue is so hammy, but I love it. It's the equivalent of some Super Sentai ass dialogue, so I'm into it. It's all talk of justice and being a hero and saving and
and
demolishing
following you to the ends of the earth,
demolishing this whole wretched world, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's so funny and hilarious.
90s.
Yeah, very, very 90s tokusatsu type writing, and that's why I love this series. But yeah, ZX Advent is quite fun. I can't wait to do the final stage and to fight the final boss, because I remember that final boss giving me a fuck ton of trouble as a kid. I also do like that you can revisit the stages or the places where you fought previous bosses and take missions where you fight them again, so you can get better at learning their moveset. And you can get medals for beating them, and the medals get displayed in a display case in one of the rooms in the hub area of the game, which is really cute. I don't know, it's a very fun game. I like all the extra missions. Some of them are just pick a flower for a little girl, and I'm oh, and then they're just the flower grows in this really difficult part of the world to get to, and I'm ooh, okay, a challenge. So it's quite a fun game, but I'm enjoying kind of fully experiencing it for the first time, through the lens of an adult as opposed to that of a giddy 12-year-old. But it's a really, really fun game. Please buy Mega Man Zero ZX Collection, you guys. You won't regret it. It's such a fun set of games. They're all really excellent, and they're all full of just so much wonderful Mega Man type nonsense that you can't help but love them. But yeah, that was my week in shit. So I guess we want to get down to the real haha funny with a capital IE at the end news that we've got.
I don't think we have much more to talk about this week. I can't.
No.
I mean, there's the Sony thing. I'm just gonna go to the bathroom real quick before we laugh at Ubisoft.
All right, now that Ben's back from his break, let's get to ripping on Wacktivision and UbiSuck.
Yeah, I was like, oh god, I gotta think something quick, but you thought about it while I was peeing. Good on you. Good on you.
But we have a double hitter of fucking tone deaf ass AAA gaming companies being fucking stupid. And I guess we'll start with the taster that is the Ronald Reagan shit in Call of Duty.
Well, I mean, we gotta start with the Ronald Reagan shit because it came out first, and it makes the UbiSuck shit that much funnier.
Yeah. So if anybody doesn't know, of course, there's a new Call of Duty game coming out, and like all Call of Duty games, it's fucking CIA propaganda and it's bullshit.
No, it's apolitical. The Cold War was not political.
Pardon me. Call of Duty: The Cold War is an apolitical video game.
Yeah, there's no politics in the Cold War.
But
proxy wars? No,
of course not.
No. It's just
a war of dueling ideals. No, apolitical.
Did you see that they're gonna allow non-binary options
in Call of Duty? Mm-hmm. Oh, great! So now I can be a non-binary war criminal.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan is gonna address you with they/them pronouns as you go kill.
It's good to know Ronald Reagan would use they/them pronouns.
Yeah, right. Not political though.
Definitely apolitical. Is that what they mean by apolitical? In that the game has no values at all? No.
I can't wait for the mission where you have to drop off pounds of crack to low-income black neighborhoods.
Yeah, and they just tell you, hey, thank you very much, addressing you with like gender-neutral pronouns as you ruin Black America.
Hi, they/them. Go bring this crack to.
Why don't you bring this crack to the inner city? Like,
yeah.
Have you
heard
new
of
Call of
San
Duty.
Andreas?
The new Call of Duty game is a Call of Duty game set during the height of the Cold War in the 1980s. And
press F to ignore the AIDS crisis.
Yes. And like all Call of Duty games, it is a fucking piece of, conservative authoritarian CIA propaganda. It lionizes Ronald Reagan in a very disgusting way by having him appear in the game as like the lead character.
Do you know your history,
who's like your dispatcher, and if anybody knows anything about Ronald Reagan, you should know that he was a fucking scumbag.
And if you disagree with that, you're listening to the wrong podcast.
You're truly listening to the wrong podcast. But there are like a billion jokes you could make about how fucked up this is. Some of them include, press F to send crack to the inner city. Press F to ignore the AIDS crisis. Press F to fucking bankroll Islamic groups, Islamic like extremist groups in the Middle East. Press F to bankroll Iran-Contra. Like, there's so many fucking jokes that can be made, but the real fucking joke here is on fucking Activision for trying to sell this shit as apolitical. For trying to apoliticize Ronald Reagan, one of the most ruinous conservative American presidents in the history of the Western world. Maybe like right before Trump, the worst fucking thing to happen to the United States like government ever. And that's not to say the United States government even has a fucking right to exist, because it doesn't. Pretty much no government in North America has a right to exist as it does. But fucking Reagan, to lionize Reagan of all presidents in of extremely politically divided time is so nakedly political a decision that to try to dress it up as apolitical is a fucking insult to everybody's intelligence.
Oh man, okay, hold on.
Okay, what do you got here?
I just found a GameSpot article in which Black Ops Cold War brings back Batman writer. Story isn't trying to be political. And
oh wait, was this written by David S. Goyer?
Yes, David Vondrack.
That's not a surprise,
Dan
considering
Vondrack.
Fucking David S. Goyer, the man
David
himself,
Goyer.
is a fucking massive fucking conservative who sucks and writes bad fucking comics and movies, especially the horrible sue me if you don't agree fucking Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy, which are just fucking full of, in my opinion, bullshit conservative propaganda.
Hold on, I got it because I got to read this one line, which is the line that made me lose my shit, and that is, Cold War tells.
You can't even read it with a straight face.
Cold War tells a story of international politics and turmoil as the U.S. and the USSR faced off in what some feared might become World War III. But the game itself isn't attempting to be political, according to its developer.
That might very well be one of the single most idiotic, tone-deaf statements ever made by a developer defending the fucking shitty authoritarian politics of their game.
That literally has the same energy as Flat Earthers have. Flat Earth has members all around the globe.
Yeah, it really is to that same degree of idiocy. Like, I don't know how anybody who plays these games, or who is even vaguely interested in playing them, cannot feel as if their intelligence is being insulted and diminished by the people who develop these fucking games when they are told things like that.
I mean, let's not forget the fact that the trailer came out and had a like half a second of Tiananmen Square, and China was like, no, and banned the trailer, and then they took down the trailer and put up a different version where that, like, 4 seconds was out. But the trailer still had the audacity of saying, know your history. But it's not political.
Activision? You fucking
More
suck.
More like Hacktivision.
More like Hacktivision, more like Wacktivision, more like Ballsacktivision. You guys are fucking awful.
Go fuck yourself.
You make terrible fucking games. Fuck Activision Blizzard. Fuck Call of Duty. Fuck the CIA.
I think the last time I played a Call of Duty game was literally Call of Duty 1 on, like, the GameCube.
Good.
Yeah.
Might as well just call it Call of Duty, duty spelled D-O-O-D-Y, duty, because it's fucking dog shit. These
and, like,
games
that's the thing, right?
awful.
Like, the closer you get to modern day history, the more you can see the, like, tiptoeing and, like...
The more that, like, the mask is pulled off.
Mm-hmm.
These games have always been...
The curtain is being pulled
like,
back.
Pro-authoritarian, pro-American propaganda. They have always been that. Ever since the first fucking game.
And that's why World War II was safe, because the Nazis are bad.
Yeah, and, like, people... Well, here's the thing. When those games came out, it was somehow unilaterally accepted that Nazis sucked, and that punching and beating the shit out of them and shooting them and killing them was good.
Yeah, but now Wolfenstein comes out, and everyone's like, wait, Nazis are still bad? Ugh.
Yeah,
it's
you
like,
fucking
what?
idiots. Nazis are still bad.
Yes, Nazis are still bad.
And there's, like, a ton of problems with the way that Wolfenstein depicts Nazis. But at the same time, the Wolfenstein games are far more intelligent and far less about American exceptionalism than these shitty Call of Duty games.
I feel like the the Call of Duty games are gaslighting essentially people at this point. They are. Of just being like, oh yeah, no, the Germany Nazis were bad, but the American Nazis are pretty cool.
Yeah, the CIA, they're definitely not a white supremacist pro-authoritarian,
we want to ruin Black America, and, like, we want to ruin Black America, give them drugs, throw all their fathers in jail, and then say that Black America has no fathers because all the fathers bounce because they're all criminals, but we made them criminals. Also,
why don't we create the conditions to criminalize an entire segment of our population, only to then scapegoat that segment of the population and use them as the reason for why the segment of the population that they are representative of are bad when compared to other segments of the population.
Yeah, and then we'll elect a ex-prosecutor as VP, but she's a person of color, though.
Don't worry, she's a person of color.
She's a person of color.
Okay.
Sure, she may have thrown away 1,500 people for weed use, which she also did, and a myriad of other...
This is Kamala Harris, by the way, for people who don't know about Kamala Harris. They called her Kamala the fucking cop Harris for a reason. She was a fucking extremely hard on drugs prosecutor who
especially
criminalized
on weed.
Of weed especially, who criminalized a large segment of the population within her jurisdiction for possession of marijuana and sent thousands and thousands of innocent people to jail over drug misdemeanors.
Yeah, and then went on Breakfast Club and was like, haha, weed's great.
Yeah.
And it's like, let them out, bitch.
Yeah. Kamala
Anyway.
Harris is fake. The Democratic Party are a shitty party, and they're a very poor smokescreen for like their very shitty neoliberal politics.
Abolish the police, or like
Republicans are
abolish
fucking
American
evil.
politics as a whole. Right
Abolish the White House.
Yeah.
Abolish the American government as we know it, and
burn it down again.
Straight up. Establish a community-led government, because this shit is bullshit. Fuck America. Yes, we are an anarchist podcast. Yes, we are anarchists. Yes, we are Marxists. Yes, we fucking hate Reagan. And yes, it is extremely embarrassing that fucking Hacktivision, fucking Wacktivision, fucking Ballsacktivision think that they can pull the wool over people's eyes and try and tell them that putting Ronald Reagan in their fucking Call of Duty game is apolitical.
You know who doesn't pull the wool over your eyes, though?
Ubisoft?
Ubisoft.
Ubisoft just UbiShit.
Tosses that
Duty
shit
soft.
right at you.
Tooty soft. Fruity soft.
So yeah, we're gonna be moving on from the surprisingly least shocking
from the less
apolitical
shocking,
game,
the less shocking apolitical game scare quotes
to the
of
most
the week.
shocking political game.
Now, this was almost like Call of Duty was like this. We're gonna make the most.
I thought I was dreaming.
Yeah,
I thought I was dreaming when I saw this Ubisoft trailer.
So Activision over here with their fucking shitty Ronald Reagan CIA propaganda Call of Duty game were like, look at us, we can be the most tone deaf people in the room. And Ubisoft looked over and said, hold my fucking beer.
Hold my fucking beer. Hold my double fisting beer. My Canadian double fisting beer. Even though this was Ubisoft
think
France.
that this game, Call of Duty Cold War, is politically loaded propaganda, wait until you hear about this new mobile game from Ubisoft called Tom Clancy's Elite Squad. So Tom Clancy's Elite Squad is a shitty Tom Clancy Ubisoft game for the mobile phone that's basically...
It's a gacha game.
It's a shitty Tom Clancy gacha game.
Yeah.
But the premise of this game is that you are part of an elite squad who are tracking down a fictional shadow organization bankrolling a populist uprising, and the name of this organization is Umbra, and the symbol representing this organization is the Black Power Fist.
Yes. Now,
this is a game in which you play as a government task force killing civilians of a populist uprising because they're actually being bankrolled by a shadow organization, and if that is not some Soros' bankrolling Antifa fucking bullshit, in the time in which that kind of shit is the least needed.
I can't believe no one at Ubisoft said, I don't think this is a good idea, and then someone up higher was like, no, we're doing it. And
I don't think that making Black Lives Matter / Antifa the antagonists / Soros in all caps.
Yeah. Oh my god.
The villains of our new gacha game for the mobile phone is a great idea, and yet.
I mean, Pat said it pretty funny on the Castle Super Beast podcast, where he was like, I can't wait for Sam Fisher to turn to the camera and say the tear gas isn't cutting it, we gotta use live ammunition. And I'm like, wow, topical.
Yeah, this is not being done with the aim of making the player question the methods and use of force by people representing the authority of the United States. This is not a comment or a self-reflexive take
this isn't,
on
there's
the cops
not gonna
fighting against a populist uprising. This is straight up pro-cop, pro-CIA.
There's not going to be a twist at the end where it's like, oh, you were the bad guy the whole time.
No, this isn't fucking Spec Ops here. This is a shitty, quote-unquote, apolitical Tom Clancy gacha game made by UbiShit.
And even the worst part is, your American heroes such as Sam Fisher and blah, 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 whatever, Rainbow Six Man, Daigo's FGC guy,
It's not Daigo, Ben.
I know. I can't stop thinking about Daigo. He's just so great. I love him.
We all think about Daigo a long time.
Daigo, DM me if you want to play some SF5 matches. Whatever. There's this Rainbow Six guy whose name is kind of like is Diego. I think it's Diego.
Diego, okay.
Which makes more sense. But yeah, Sam Fisher and Diego are going to be teaming up with drug cartel members and literal criminals to take down.
Black Lives Matter.
No, not Black Lives Matter. We didn't know. We just. It's. Black
existences.
Are
flourish.
Important.
Black existences are important. Sorry, not Black Lives Matter. Black existences are important.
Yeah, no, it's not. It has nothing to do with current events, guys. Stop.
This is straight up like I said. Like this Soros is bankrolling Antifa conspiracy theory bullshit.
It's so fucked
being
up.
peddled by a AAA company of all times, like in the wake of the George Floyd protests, in the wake of like the second coming and resurgence of Black Lives Matter, this is the game you want to put out.
This game was probably in development for about a year, right? So benefit of the doubt. No, you know what? Fuck Ubisoft. Shouldn't be using that album.
There was no excuse.
There's no benefit of the doubt.
They literally called this shadow organization Umbra, a word meaning blackness.
Yes, no,
darkness,
but I mean,
word that means
more
black,
is like,
and the Black Power Fist is their symbol. Yeah, the Black Power Fist.
No, that's the thing. But the thing is, the dev shit was before this. So they were being racist before they were being hyper racist, right? Like,
yes, they absolutely.
And then someone was probably like, "Hey, maybe we shouldn't do this." And then someone higher up was like, "No, we're fuck it. Who cares?"
No, and also you're fired for speaking.
They won't. Yeah, they won't. The tossed out of the window meme.
Yeah, straight up. There is like no defending this.
I mean, that's the thing. I keep looking for like any
feasible explanation or like leap in logic that could even go like help a little bit to explain why they thought this was a good idea. Because I just
don't understand how you release this.
Yeah. In
like at all.
How you could even release this trailer comfortably now.
Yeah,
it shows
especially
just
now.
a startling lack of awareness. And
I mean,
just
it's
how
like,
fucking like once we said the word of the week this week or the term of the week is fucking out of touch, because that's what Ubisoft are. That's what they have always been regarding current politics and current affairs.
Yeah, like you want to talk about the Division?
the most fucking offensive shit.
I stopped playing the Division because I got really uncomfortable killing workers' unions people who were just like, I feel like I should maybe live.
It's too much of an ask, Ben. You can't.
But this is the same company that made Dog Watch. Dog Watch? Watchdog. Whatever.
Dog Watch.
Fuck that game. I don't care.
I'd prefer a game in which you just look at a dog.
Yeah, Nintendogs. Bring Nintendogs back. That's what we need.
Nintendogs over Watch Dogs 2020. But holy shit, just the startling lack of awareness is...
Oh god, it's fucked. It's...
Yeah. I mean, if you don't think that, like, Ubisoft's like lack of awareness doesn't like belie a greater issue within the company of like people with fucked up like personal politics running this shit, then I don't think you have like any kind of sense, because
want to know
this just shows how like not just like we say out of touch they are, but how like honestly like how many of these people have just been like eaten entirely by fucking shitty conservative brainworms.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you want to know a fun fact about this game too?
Oh,
you know who's the like main director on it?
Who?
The son of the owner of Ubisoft, France.
Well, that tells you everything you need to know about this fucking game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Also, I mean, we must really not love his son giving him a mobile game.
I mean, if the Division, yeah, I mean, well, that's another story. But
talk about like nepotism, but like almost as an insult.
If the Division wasn't already a high like demonstration of how much Ubisoft hates poor people.
Yeah, this game certainly is. I mean, I'd say you hate poor people if you're making gacha games to begin with, because gacha games exist solely to bleed the money out of poor people's pockets.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
I like I said, I mean, I'm gonna get into the Division a little bit, but I was so uncomfortable with the actual like narrative arc of the Division that I couldn't play it. Because literally the first mission in the Division is, hey, these looters are stealing a food drop. Go kill them. And until you get there and start shooting them, they're just dudes in hoodies trying to get some food to feed their kids.
Yeah. It's literally like
and you're like,
the what do you call that? Like the dehumanization of the lower classes, of people struggling, of laborers, of public workers. Like it's the dehumanization of the lower class.
Yeah,
by
and, I made it
the military and government.
I made it through that first part, which was like killing all of the people who just wanted food, and I was like, this feels weird. And then I got to the oh god, what is it? The welders union, I guess. Like it's a welders workers union, so like they
want you to kill union and workers.
Yeah, they're just, but they're like, oh yeah, no, it's a cult, and they're insane. Kill them. And they're like,
they're a fucking workers union.
Yeah, they just want to
live.
Yeah, just like I don't know, this game feels fucking weird. So I just dropped it, and because I bought it on launch because I was like, oh, this the Dark Zone looked really cool, like the multiplayer section seemed pretty fun, so I was like, fine, I'll get it. And then the story was just like, oh god,
embarrassing lack of tact regarding the apolitical nature of the Division 2, and we spoke about that when that happened, but yes, the Division, not a political game, definitely apolitical.
What was it? Ubisoft sent out that email that was like, we'll show you what a real White House shutdown looks like, and it's just like,
yeah.
Oh god. And then they apologized 5 minutes after.
It's not political, I promise. I honestly I tone deaf doesn't even begin to describe it. Tactless doesn't even begin to describe it.
Oh, it's not even tone deaf. They know what they're doing.
Well, yeah, they're tone deaf.
It's not tone deaf. It's literally
some level of lack of awareness. They are aware of what they're doing, but there we go. Tactless does not begin to describe it. Fucking, it's disgusting. And
this is why
we're making a lot of jokes about it, but it's only because if we weren't making jokes about it, we'd be fucking screaming crying. Mad, howling mad, tears mad.
We wouldn't be recording a podcast, we'd be breaking windows.
Yes, and I can't do it.
God, I'm so glad I never ended up working for Ubisoft.
Yeah, fuck. And it's hard to avoid if you want to get into the games industry in Montreal. Yeah. Who are your primary employers? WB Games or Ubisoft? That's who you're going for, or Square Enix,
or EA,
or EA.
That's a good one.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. But that's an option.
Really, your options when you're in Montreal.
I have IDOS as an option in Montreal.
There we go, IDOS and by extension, people like Crystal Dynamics, who are also based out of here, and Square Enix Montreal, also part of Crystal Dynamics.
But Square Enix Montreal's kind of...
they're
I'm not going to say anything.
They're bad.
I don't... You said it, not me.
I said it. Hey, guess what?
If I get a job
I know that they have fucking abusers and rapists on their bankroll, so...
Oh yeah, it's true.
There we go.
You know what?
Fuck.
Yeah, fuck
I can
that.
unilaterally say fuck Square Enix.
I'll go work
Montreal.
for Thunder Lotus. I don't think Thunder Lotus has. We'll see.
We can't say for sure. Let's be honest. You never know with the reckoning that has gone down in the games industry as of late. But suffice it to say, this is just such an embarrassing, pathetic display of intellectual dishonesty that there are almost no words to properly describe how fucking ridiculous both of these shitty companies are. So yeah, fuck you, Wacktivision, Hacktivision, Activision. Fuck you, UbiShit. You guys are fucking embarrassments and pitiful, and Jesus Christ, the fact that people still play your games is nothing short of a goddamn miracle.
Yeah.
And I guess with that being said, we could end our episode for today, but
Ratchet and Clank looks good.
What a fucking ride that has been. Wow.
Yeah.
I genuinely cannot fucking believe what a week we had.
I have too many episode titles for us to even pick one right now, I think.
Yeah, it's been a
and it's all based around literally one subject.
Press F to
we didn't even talk Reagan about crime. We didn't even talk. Wait, no, I did. Never mind. I mentioned it.
Yeah, we did.
Do you know your history?
Do you know your history? Yeah, we do. That's why we're fucking offended.
Can you stop deleting it, please?
Yeah.
Put it back in the trailer.
Stop
you pissed China off. That's the point.
Stop fucking erasing this shit. You fucking liars. You bold-faced fucking liars. But yeah, this has been an embarrassing display of pathetic kowtowing to end the episode off. I'm Ryan. You can find me at NuvoArtPunk on everything, on Instagram, on Twitter, and if you want to hit me up on Letterboxd and read what I write about when I watch movies and TV and shit, you can catch me there. And that's mostly all that I do. What about you, Ben? Where can people find you?
Scratch Me Silly on literally everything. I'm gonna be streaming tonight. I was planning on streaming Killer Instinct, but I think I've had a few too many, so I think I'm just gonna stream Fall Guys.
Sounds like a fun time. It's a good game to play drunk.
Yeah, exactly. And I usually stream. No, stream schedule changed actually. So now it's gonna be Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So yeah, on Twitch, twitch.tv/scratchmesilly. And as I said, Scratch Me Silly on everything. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And I guess listen to the most recent episode of our podcast, The Bonus Round, because we did a fun episode on licensed games that we enjoy, a little something unrelated to the typical discourse that you get to on GamePunx. And of course, we've got a couple of other things in the works. I've definitely got a new episode of Touch Generation in the works, so you guys can look forward to that. But until the next episode, thank you very much. Have yourselves a good evening.